Well, hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. Are you a who dat? Are you a who dat fan? If you're a who dat, subscribe to my channel. It's quick, it's easy. Consider me a friend or a coworker who loves the Saints as much as you do. And when you see one of my videos, you get to hear what I got to say. Leave your comments down low. Let me know what you think. I respond to my comments. And today, we're going to be doing a bi-week special, of course. It's the mid-season awards. We're going to be giving out accolades. And at 2-8, we'll see. Not many players to choose from when you're talking about high accolades and lots of stuff to choose from when you're going to talk about failures and disappointments. Well, we're going to start this off with the rookies of the year. First on offense, the offensive rookie of the year. You know, you've got a lot of choices. Not really. What? Four? Four. The winner is obviously offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. Our ninth overall pick gets the start at left tackle, and seriously, he's been put on an island from the beginning. We just put him out there and said, "You go ahead and handle the best of the best in the league," and yeah, we're good. We're gonna chip block and put tight ends in other places. We're just gonna leave you out on an island. As a matter of fact, when Taliesin Fuanga, the right tackle, was healthy and out there, he was put on an island all the time too. I mean, Kellen Moore has really put both these tackles out there and said, "Yeah, let's see how you can do." And so we see some struggles. We see some bad PFF numbers every now and then for Kelvin Banks in a game or two, but overall, he's graded out really well. As a matter of fact, everything looks like he's going to be the left tackle of the future for the Saints. Probably going to be left out there by himself to protect the blind side of the quarterback for his whole rookie year, and then we'll probably have to re-sign him to a really big contract. Hopefully, he improves with every game. I want to see that run blocking improve, and all that comes together. By the time he's getting a second contract, maybe he's getting other accolades around the league, like one of the best tackles, Pro Bowl nominations, stuff like that. Yeah, ceiling's high for Kelvin Banks Jr., and he is obviously the offensive MVP. Tyler Shuck hasn't played enough, and Devin Neal is just a piece right now. Rookie of the Year on offense, Kelvin Banks Jr. What about the defensive Rookie of the Year? This one gets a little more complicated because you've got quite a few players to choose from. Sanker and Riley and yeah, that's Danny Stutzman. They've all looked pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to the guy that's been starting the longest out of all of them in the offensive rookie of the year on defense is safety Jonas Sanker. He has had to play and early and often. Julian Blackman was the starting safety. He plays an entire game, the first game of the year, and then he's out for the rest of the year. And Jonas Sanker is the guy. He's been starting since week 2. And for a fourth round pick, third round pick, yeah, that's a pretty good gig, especially since he's racking up tackles, he's making plays. Probably one of the plays of the year was his interception versus the Bills and Josh Allen. Yeah, that goes on the short list for plays of the year for me. The amount of ground he covered to get an interception from the reigning MVP. I don't think Allen had been picked off if any at all, at that point. So yeah, no, I did not do awards for plays of the year. This team's 2-8, and that particular play I'm talking about happened in a game where we lost by 12 points. So, but Jonas Sanker is the rookie of the year on defense. Okay. How about the biggest disappointment? This is one where you can just slap on offense, defense, special teams, call it a day. Biggest disappointment. You could put all the head coaches there. You know, Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, Phil Galliano. Phil Galliano possibly should be on the list of biggest disappointments, but you can have a lot more. You can consider Alvin Kamara a disappointment or Chris Olave a disappointment. Certainly, Isaac Yiadom has been a disappointment, and Trevor Penning, who's been a disappointment since the year we drafted him. Yeah, that guy could probably be the biggest disappointment. But I've mentioned all of that, and I've still got five to cover because this award goes to five different people. Biggest disappointment of the year from the bottom to the top. Wide receiver Devon Vele. We trade a fourth round pick and a seventh round pick. We hear he's really smart. He's going to learn the playbook quick, and yet he doesn't get any playing time. Now, it's not until after we trade Rashid Shaheed that Devon Vele even gets a majority of the snaps in a game. And that was last week. He got one catch. I think he was targeted two or three times. Yeah, the season's almost over here. We've had 10 games, we've got seven to go. And Devon Bailey, he'll get out of this category if he manages to catch between 30 and 40 passes and get between 300 and 400 yards. I think a fourth round draft pick wide receiver is accomplishing what's expected. If he can get 30 catches, 300 yards, two or three touchdowns, something like that. That would be the base low, right? So, yeah, he's only got what, five catches on the year? I seriously doubt in 7 games he's going to catch another 25, 30 passes, but we'll see. He's the type of player we don't have, a big wide receiver who can assume that X role and do so many great things that we've seen Sean Payton and Pete Carmichael draw up. And yeah, it's just been missing since Payton left. And maybe Kellen Moore isn't the guy to draw up that. Maybe he wants speed everywhere. Vele's going to stay on the list of disappointments until he hits those benchmarks I've set, and I don't think it's going to happen. Safety Justin Reed. Here's a guy we're paying $12 million a year. He's got two Super Bowl rings. He comes in, he's given the starting safety job, and he hasn't performed very well. Now, maybe maybe he's performed okay, but we haven't seen any big plays. We haven't seen any make your mark type of plays. He's had a couple of plays in 10 games, maybe two or three good plays all year, and he's played every game. He's been out there. And I expect more than just a leadership role from a guy making 12 million a year. Brandon Cooks is making 7 million a year, and about all he's doing is playing a leadership role. I don't need that from Justin Reed. If you're going to go out there and start every game, be healthy and play, and all you can give me is two, three good plays, not for $12 million. That guy is a disappointment in my mind. Number three on my list is offensive guard Cesar Ruiz. Of course, he's a disappointment. Now it's funny because the last two or three games he's played okay. His numbers have steadily gotten better and better and better as the years gone on. I don't think it's an issue of this system and him trying to adjust. Certainly not at the right guard position. It's what he's played his whole career. He just looks really bad from time to time, and he does these things that you thought he learned and got over, like using both hands at the same time. His best year was when he got away from that, and then he's back to doing it again. I don't get it. He gets both hands chopped at once, and then there's nothing to counter with, and the guy gets past him every time. Like I said, the last game and the game before that he played, it's been a little bit better, but overall, a first round draft pick guard should be somebody you don't even think about. And this team has had really good guards throughout the decade and a half Sean Payton was here. If they weren't great guards, they sure were put in a position with that great quarterback and with the play calling that you felt like they were good guards. Seems like the Saints were just littered with all pro and Pro Bowl guards up until we drafted Cesar Ruiz. And remember when Drew Brees got hit and broke his ribs in 7 places and all kinds of other stuff? Yeah, that was Cesar Ruiz giving up that sack to a guy we ended up signing that did nothing for us. I mean, I'm going off. Let's focus on this year. He's not very good. One of the lowest rated guards in the league. Trevor Penning-esque numbers, and Cesar Ruiz has always been a disappointment, except for that one year with John Bolton or whatever. All right, number two on my list of biggest disappointments, tight end Jawan Johnson. And he's had a couple of good games, but he's also had a drop in just about every game. Okay, he doesn't make a big catch when needed. He's not a number one tight end. He's an undrafted wide receiver who manages to keep his starting job at tight end. I don't get it, and he ain't worth the money we're paying him. Now, he keeps getting all these targets. Eventually, he'll shatter his career records in catches and yards. Yeah, but he's not finding the end zone, not enough. He's too inconsistent, and he's a liability run blocking. I think tight end is a huge need for this team, as is guard. And Juwan Johnson, yeah, perennial disappointment. You know, if he didn't have the drops, I would like him a lot more. And the number one biggest disappointment is kicker Blake Groupie. Kicker Blake Groupie, the guy that went, what, 40 or 41 in the offseason and preseason, and just, he couldn't miss. He couldn't miss. And then the season starts, and he seems to miss one every game. We go on the streak where he's missed one in 3 or 4 games in a row or something like that. Now, granted, the last couple of games he hasn't missed. We haven't been giving him the opportunities we may have given him had he made those kicks earlier in the year, too. We have to keep that in mind. There's chances to line up for a 58 or 55-yard field goal. We decide to punt because Blake Grupe's been inconsistent. If we would go for those kicks, maybe he would have a few more misses in the last couple of games. Well, he's got 7 on the year right now. He's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, and when it comes to accuracy and field goal kicking. And yeah, that's all of that's disappointing. But when you come into the year thinking he's going to be an asset and one of the best, that's what really signifies a disappointment for me. Yeah, I could have made this video all about the disappointments of 2-8 team. Let's talk about something positive. How about the biggest surprise on the New Orleans Saints? And surprise could be bad, but I'm going for the positive here. So, biggest positive surprise for the Saints so far this year. I toyed with the notion of putting Tyler Shuck on this, but we've only seen him for 2.5 games. It's a surprise, and at the same time, with the 40th overall pick, some of it's to be expected, right? Kelvin Banks is another one, the first round pick, 9th overall. I wouldn't consider him a surprise. It's not going to make this list, even though it's great that your first round player goes out there and plays really well. That's great, but it's not necessarily a surprise. But I do have 5 surprises, and here it is. And I'm going to start at the bottom and go up with center Luke Fortner. I mean, right before the season starts, we trade Colin Saunders, who we expected to cut anyway. We trade him to Jacksonville. They trade us Luke Fortner, their backup center, who they were expecting to cut anyway. And Luke Fortner makes the team. And then our starting center gets hurt. He's out for the rest of the year. Fortner's got to step in and start. He started the last 2 games, and his PFF grades are really good, like 77 overall, stuff like that. This is some good stuff from a guy that another team was just going to cut. So at this point in the season, through 10 games, how's this trade worked out? Well, Luke Fortner is starting for the Saints while Colin Saunders is getting cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Saints won this trade big time. And if Fortner keeps playing well, and he's playing pretty good, he keeps playing well, we may have our backup center of the future. He's got like he's got like 1,000 snaps in his career as a starter. And Jacksonville fans didn't really like Fortner all that much. I guess when he was asked to play for them, he was struggling. But it seems like he's a pretty solid young veteran now who's not making mistakes. Not right now. They're not glaring if he is. He's grading out really well. It's a huge surprise, especially getting him for a guy that's unemployed right now. So kudos to Luke Fortner at center. And then I've got two linebackers mentioned here at 4 and 3 in the biggest surprise category is Isaiah Stallbird and Danny Stutzman. Both of them are special teams aces right now. You don't miss JT Gray when Isaiah Stallbird and Danny Stutzman are getting like two special teams tackles a game. And Stallbird, I believe, leads the team in special teams tackles. Both of them are also playing on defense. Seems like every third drive on defense, we take Werner out and put Danny Stutzman in. And this man makes tackle every other play. It's impressive. And I would love to see Danny Stutzman out there every drive, every snap for a whole game, and let's see what we have. I want to see the guy in coverage. Pete Werner is a liability in coverage. I believe Danny Stutzman is a liability in coverage too. That's why he's getting snaps, but when third down comes, we roll out Isaiah Stallbird, the former safety. He's a safety linebacker tweener, and Stallbird is getting a lot of play on third downs on defense, and for good reason, because he's really good in coverage, but he's also he's proven to be a very good tackler, and he seems to snuff plays out. So Stallbird being an undrafted guy a couple of years ago, he was inherited by this coaching staff. So they have found themselves a jewel. They've taken over the Saints roster and said, "Hey, look at this guy. We're going to keep him. We're going to get rid of a Pro Bowl All Pro special teamer because this guy that we inherited is playing so well." And lo and behold, he apparently fits into Brandon Staley's defense very well, being that hybrid safety linebacker type and playing on third down. So Isaiah Stallbird and Danny Stutzman. I have Danny Stutzman at 3 because he's got 29 tackles and he's only played like 60 plays. I mean, I don't know what to say. The man is a tackling machine, and I would love to see Stutzman out there for a whole game. Number 2 on the biggest surprise is cornerback Quincy Riley, a fourth-round draft pick, but he was drafted by this coaching staff with Brandon Staley's defense in mind. And look at this. He's become a starter because of injuries, and he hasn't let the job go. He's been starting on the outside opposite Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Quincy Riley is a guy that Staley wanted. He's got in his defense. He fits this defense, and Riley's been performing. He's forced a fumble, and he's got an interception. In his brief time as an NFL player, he's only started for, what, I think 3 or 4 games. So a lot of learning still to go, and he was exposed his second start, but he's held up really well. And for a fourth round pick to be able to start ahead of a 3 million a year guy and Isaac Yadam and some of the other veterans with more experience, Quincy Riley's been a surprise. I feel like Quincy Riley's a really good player to have, that he would be, a primary backup. And if a starter goes down, Riley can come in and take care of it for half a season. That's the player he seems to be now. And for a fourth round pick, that's pretty good. But if Riley keeps playing and he keeps progressing, which we expect he will, yeah, it'll be a steal. I mean, he's gonna. we're going to have to extend the guy if we want to save money on him. He keeps playing the way he's playing. And that's why he's number two on my biggest surprise. But number one, of course, I think it's obvious. Safety Jonas Sanker, once again, the defensive rookie of the year. And yeah, he's been a huge surprise. I know Brandon Staley loves Julian Blackman, and I believe we're going to re-sign Julian Blackman. He's out for the year, and it looked like Blackman was going to fit into this defense really well. So if Blackman doesn't get hurt, maybe your starting safeties are Reed and Blackman right now, and you just don't see a lot of Jonas Sanker. Jonas Sanker's forced into it. He's played very well. I think he's played so well that if you do resign Julian Blackman, you might want to just trade Justin Reed because I'd like to see Blackman and Sanker out there instead of Blackman and Reed. Now, Reed's got 7 more games to show that he can grasp this defense and become a playmaker. He worth the 12 million because I'd rather pay Jonas Sanker 12 million right now than Justin Reed. Matter of fact, I'd rather pay Blackman 12 million. And we got Blackman on the cheap. He was on the street. Nobody wanted him when we signed him right before the season started. Signed him in preseason, and he comes in and just immediately grabs a starting job and forces interception after interception and in the offseason, and then yeah, plays 1 game and he's out for the year. Yeah, Blackman's going to come back on this team. How much did we sign him for? Maybe 2, 3 million. Yeah, we probably he didn't even play but 1 game, and we'll probably have to double that salary to get him again. I don't know. I just we'll see. But Sanker definitely the biggest surprise. Thank goodness he's there. As a matter of fact, I think he's earned himself a starting job for the rest of his career. If he wants to keep it, it's his. All right, the next category is defensive MVP. And yeah, let you think about that one for a second. I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going with linebacker Demario Davis. I think he's third in the league in total tackles. Once again, the Saints leader in tackles and a tackling machine, and he's 36 years old. 36 years old as a linebacker. There's a couple of other linebackers that old in the league right now who's playing pretty good. Bobby Wagner, and none of them can touch the production that Demario Davis has had. Davis had one iffy game all year long, and at 36 years old, you would think he would be a rotational guy at best. But I don't think there's a linebacker in the league that you can go and get that would come on this team and take Davis's place. No, you're going to play next to Davis, but you're not taking Davis's place. The man should be in the Pro Bowl. He should be at least the one Saint that gets a Pro Bowl nomination this year. Everybody should sing his praises. Demario Davis is the ageless wonder. He told Father Time to take a nap. He's not ready to retire. And as long as he wants to keep playing this well, keep playing this well. He's the defensive MVP for the Saints. Who's the MVP on offense for the Saints? Ugh, this offense has been poor. 26 overall to 32 in that range for just about every category and bottom of the barrel. And Kellen Moore's got a lot to work out as a head coach because he was always a top 5 offense. When he was a coordinator, he always had a top 5 offense. And we're not even close to even sniffing top 20. So we got to work this stuff out. There's only one guy I can really consider. Because, you could consider Chris Olave, who's on pace for 100 catches. You could consider Alvin Kamara, who's probably going to have over 1,000 all-purpose yards. But I consider both of them disappointments because of the expectations. My offensive MVP of the year is the rookie offensive tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr. Once again, I think if you had to get rid of everybody on offense and only keep one person, I think Banks would be the guy I would keep. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think he's the most important. I'll get another tight end. I'll get another wide receiver. I'll keep this tackle though. Offensive MVP. And yeah, I hope things change. I hope Chris Olave plays like a number one. And when the season's over, We're debating on whether it's Alvin Kamara or Chris Olave. I predicted Kamara to be the offensive MVP and the MVP of the team, and I'm off on that. Kellen Moore can work some of that out. But until then, the offensive MVP is Kelvin Banks Jr. And the final category for my video, the team MVP, who is the most valuable player on the Saints right now. And yeah, that's going to be linebacker Demario Davis. Davis has shown the ability to cover. He's shown the ability to rush the passer. I figured Davis would have a couple of sacks by now. He typically floats between 5, 6 sacks a year with the Saints. Yeah, he's pretty productive. He hasn't gotten the sacks, but he's made a lot of tackles, a bunch of tackles for losses. And yeah, right now, Davis is the MVP of the team. Now, Tyler Shuck's got 7 more games at quarterback, and if he performs anywhere near the way he performed last week against Carolina, then Tyler Shuck could be, the front runner for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, all that stuff. He may even get league Offensive Rookie of the Year nods if he can play in 7 games and perform close like he did against Carolina. That's interesting. There's a lot to look forward to for the rest of the season. The team is 2-8. I expect them to win no less than 4 more games. I predicted the final record of the Saints to be 7-10, and I'm still sitting there. I'm still there. I think this team has 5 wins in them. I just don't think the schedule is very difficult. And if the Saints are turning a corner and they're getting better and they want to be a team rising, they may need a few drafts to go before they can get there. But yeah, I would not be surprised if this team finishes, 6-11 or 7-10. So that would probably put the Saints around pick 10 in the draft, pick 12, somewhere's around there. We win a bunch of games with this quarterback, even though it's against an easier schedule. We will have a good gauge on the quarterback. I would hate to get to the end of the year and have won 4 out of the last 7 games, but you're still not sure at quarterback. I don't need to see game because I don't think this team's capable of doing that. Uh, Spencer Rattler performed very well as a quarterback. You look at the stats and you say this is fine, but it wasn't enough for this team to win. We needed a little bit more from the quarterback position. So I don't envision a scenario where Tyler Shuck underwhelms and this team still wins, even though the schedule's lighter. I don't think the defense has turned a corner. I think they're going to lay an egg every other game. And I don't think the offense is good enough. It doesn't have the pieces right now to generate wins without a little help from your quarterback. So it's possible we don't know what we have in Shuck by the end of the year, but I think the final record is it's going to tell you a lot. And if we only manage to win 2 of the last 7 games, I think that's going to say a lot about not only the team as a whole, but the quarterback as well. I mean, you might have been able to do that with Spencer Rattler. So maybe a quarterback is the guy to go after in the first round if you finish this season with only 3 or 4 wins. So there you go. That's the midseason awards. That's the report card on the team. I mean, overall, report card grade, not good. Special teams, D minus. I would give them an F, but I'm going to go with D minus. We've had a bunch of parts in and out as far as returners go. I'm going to say D minus for right now for special teams. On defense, I can't give them anything better than a C, straight C on defense. You've had some games that looked really good, but you've had some games that looked pretty bad. And this team, on average, has given up like 20 points the first half every other game, just about every game for games in a row. The damn score's 20-0 or 20-3 or 20-7 or whatever. And we're always in a hole. Yeah, the offense isn't productive. The defense has to do more about that. And then on offense, this is just awful. Awful. I give the offense a D. I can't go better than that. C minus maybe. I don't know what we are. We don't have an identity. Kellen Moore isn't, he hasn't put a stamp on anything yet, except improvement at the quarterback play. But other than that, the offense is just awful. And the team overall, D. It's a D. It could be an F. 3 weeks ago, it felt like we were the worst team in the league. Well, let's see what happens. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10 for more videos about the Saints. I'm Joe. You let me know who your offense and defensive players of the year are, rookie of the year, all that stuff. Give me an idea of what you think. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?